Today in cannabis news, two Florida gubernatorial candidates feud over who backs statewide cannabis legalization more. Statistics show that cannabis seizures by the DEA have dropped significantly since states in the U.S. began legalizing it, leaving the agency with less samples. And activists in Nepal call for nationwide cannabis legalization. It's Monday, October 18th, and this is your Trichomes Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the Trichomes.com studios in Southern California. It's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
First up, a pair of Democrats in a primary contest of becoming Florida's next governor are fueling over who favors legalizing cannabis more than the other. U.S. Representative Charlie Crist, who was the GOP governor of Florida from 2007 to 2011 before becoming a Democrat in Congress, released a policy agenda this week highlighting his support for statewide cannabis legalization, which already exists in nearly 20 states. Crist did not make any meaningful cannabis reforms in Florida as a Republican governor. However, as a Democrat U.S. representative, he has pushed for cannabis policy reform. Florida Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried, Crist's governorship primary challenger, was fast to respond, essentially implying that Crist was imitating her example and criticizing him for earlier passivity on the matter, and only supporting legalization once it became politically advantageous. Imitation is flattery, but records are records. People went to jail because Republicans like Crist supported and enforced racist marijuana crime bills, she said in a tweet. Glad he's changed his mind, but none of those people get those years back.
Next up, according to research sponsored by a prominent federal cannabis investigator, state-level cannabis policy reform has rendered the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration with significantly less specimens of captured illegal cannabis to examine. This research supports the assertion stated by proponents of legalization that as additional legal sectors open up, consumer spending on uncontrolled cannabis from illegal sources will decrease. Cannabis seizures have precipitously declined over time, starting in the year 2011 with greater than 2,342 exhibits to 2019 with fewer than 100 exhibits, according to the findings which were published in the journal Biological Psychiatry previously this year. Cannabis arrests are falling throughout the nation as DEA cannabis seizures are plummeting, according to current FBI statistics, with a dramatic decrease in 2020. According to a report published in June by the U.S. Sentencing Commission, federal cannabis smuggling charges steadily dropped in 2020 as more states legalized the plant.
Last up, as per the Associated Press, campaigners are calling for nationwide cannabis legalization in Nepal's parliament. Nepal outlawed cannabis in the 1970s, and now activists want the country to join the ranks of others that have liberalized cannabis regulations in recent history. We are demanding the legalization of marijuana in Nepal, firstly for medicinal purposes for patients who are dying, said campaign head Raji Kafal. Many countries, including the most powerful and developed countries, have allowed the use of marijuana, said Health Minister Barod Katawada. The new law would ensure that the benefit is not going to one industrious or small group of business people, but rather it will benefit the poor farmers who use their small plots of land to grow it. Despite the fact that cannabis is commonly accessible in Nepal and is frequently permitted to be grown on a limited basis due to cultural or religious acceptance, Kafal, a medicinal patient who utilizes cannabis for HIV, was taken into police custody recently at his Hippie Hills property near Kathmandu on narcotics trafficking allegations. Per the report, if charged, he would spend up to a decade incarcerated.
That was today's Buzz. Thanks for listening. For more cannabis news and insights from industry professionals and a place to discuss these stories and others, visit trichomes.com.
And be sure to catch up with all of our other cannabis industry-related podcasts like Hash It Out, Tech and Cannabis, or the International Cannabis Conversation, wherever you get your podcasts. For trichomes.com, I'm Devin Leon.
And I'm RJ Balde, signing off.